This is my new super lightweight travel essentials kit, and it's an updated version of my original travel essentials kit where every element has been revisited and, where necessary, updated with the aim of minimizing weight and, where possible, bulk. Now, the travel essentials kit is one of my favorite and most used kits, and this is the one I grab anytime I'm going to be away on a trip. And after many trips, I've realized that weight is a key factor here, with the original kit at around 450 grams or 16 ounces feeling just a bit on the heavy side, meaning it would sometimes get left behind, defeating the object of having it. And so this new kit is all about reducing weight whilst retaining capability, and the aim here is to lose 100 grams or 3.5 ounces from this original kit, bringing the weight down to not more than 350 grams or 12 ounces, and that makes all the difference. And in this video I will compare the contents of this new kit to the original, and I'll also show the weight of everything in here and where the savings are made, and I'll show the cost of every item and total up the cost of the complete kit at the end of the video. And as always, I'll include links to everything featured in the description down below. Okay, let's start with the pouch. This is the Maxpedition micro pouch, which is the same as I used for the original kit, and I did look around for alternatives, but it turns out this one is really hard to beat. It opens like a book, which is essential for quick access and good visibility of the contents, and it also has a useful grab handle or attachment loop at the top. It's also great quality and affordable at under £25 or dollars. Big enough but not too big, and importantly it's very lightweight at just 45 grams or 1.5 ounces. And when you look inside, you can see everything in here has its place, and this is so items can be easily located without having to rummage around, and you can also quickly see if anything is missing. So as it turns out, the Maxpedition Micro is still the perfect pouch for this kit. The biggest change here is the power bank, and the power bank is the most used item in this kit, and it's arguably the most important. Now, in the original kit I used the excellent 10,000 milliamp hour NB10000 from Nitecore. Nitecore are the leader when it comes to lightweight quality power banks, and even though this is still the lightest 10k power bank on the market, it is still the heaviest item in the original kit, coming in at 150 grams. So I was delighted when I came across this, unsurprisingly also from Nitecore. This is the Carbon Battery 6K, and this was originally designed for use with Nitecore headlamps, and even comes with a head strap and an elasticated cable. But this also makes the ideal compact and lightweight general use power bank. It has less capacity at 6,000 milliamp hour than the original 10k power bank, but considering my iPhone 15 Pro has a capacity of 3,300 milliamp hour at the same voltage, this will give my phone more than a full charge, which is more than enough for this application. Now, it takes around 2 hours to fully charge my iPhone, so not what you would call fast charging, but that's going to be fine for most situations. Here we have just one USB-C socket for charging and recharging, and there are also some LEDs here for the battery level and charging status. And the cylindrical shape of the power bank lends itself nicely to the pouch loops. The case for the power bank is made from carbon fiber, and that's for high strength and also reduced weight, which comes in at just 88 grams, giving us a significant 62 gram weight saving for the new kit. And the price is pretty good too, at under £40 or dollars. The next item is the headlamp. Now, I'm keen to have a headlamp in here because if you need to light your way in an emergency, say escaping from a building at night, it will be highly beneficial to be hands-free. Now, in my first travel essentials kit I used the NU20, coincidentally also from Nitecore, and this is a well-known ultralight fan favourite headlamp. But with an old micro USB charging socket, it was eventually discontinued and it was replaced with this, the NU25, which is what I've used in the kit since. And although this is a great option with its dual lens arrangement, it was actually a backward step in two important areas. One is size and weight, and the other is complexity, with different light levels across both the spot lens and the flood lens, and also the combined lenses, along with several red light features. So not at all intuitive to use, which is not ideal if you find yourself in a stressful situation. Nitecore, I think, noticed that the NU20 was being missed, especially by the ultralight carry community, and they recently reintroduced it as the NU20 Classic, which is what I now have here in the kit. And as you can see, it is very similar to the original with just a couple of improvements. The charging socket is now USB-C and has moved round to the side, and the LED is improved with a quoted 109 meter range, and the head cord is now reflective and glows in the dark. And if we compare the NU20 Classic with the NU25 from the original kit, the NU20 is much smaller and at 38 grams is 7 grams lighter. Not a huge amount, but welcome nonetheless. The real win though here is the ease of use. All you really need to remember is that the switch above the white light switches through 3 levels of that white light, and the switch above the red light switches to 2 levels of that red light and a flashing mode, and that makes it simple and intuitive, and that will get you by. But in addition, if you actually press and hold the white light switch, you get a color corrected diffuse light as well. And there's also a lockout mode, although the flat switches here almost totally eliminate the risk of accidental activation. And as for the price, this comes in a bit cheaper too than the NU25 at around £27 or dollars. Then we have one of the most difficult choices for this kit, and that is finding a good tool option, and that's always going to be a balance between weight, size and capability. Now, the original kit included these 3 small items: pry bar, a TI spanner and a Victorinox flight friendly knifeless jet setter with a total combined weight of just 44 grams. And the idea to exclude the knife was so that this kit could be carried in hand luggage on a flight without having to change the contents, although it is worth mentioning that at the moment it is almost impossible to find a properly useful tool that will be allowed in hand luggage on a flight. So for this kit, in order to provide some proper utility, I'm going to assume that whatever I choose will need to be removed when I fly, assuming I'm flying with just hand luggage. Now, in use, I found the 3 elements of the original kit to be a bit too small and fiddly. So for this new kit, I've decided to go with one larger and more practical tool without increasing the overall weight of the kit. And this time I wanted to include a usable knife, one that will work with food, for example, slicing up an apple, as well as more general cutting tasks. And when it comes to a lightweight bladed multi-tool, there is nothing I can think of that beats a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. Although do let me know in the comments if you feel there is a better option, factoring in that strict weight requirement. Now, a 3-layer Victorinox option like this climber is going to be too heavy at 82 grams for this kit. And even my EDC 2-layer compact, which is arguably the best compromise here at 67 grams, would still add weight. But I found one very overlooked contender for this kit, and that is this Victorinox Waiter. Now, this is super affordable at just £18 or dollars, and it has just 1 layer, and it's also an 84mm Victorinox, whereas most at the medium size are 91mm, and that of course helps with the weight. Now, the blade here is still very usable, and in addition we have a combination tool, which is both a bottle opener and a can opener, both of which could come in handy when traveling. And it also doubles up as a pry bar, screwdriver and wire stripper. And then we also have a corkscrew, which again could be very useful when traveling. There is also the usual toothpick and tweezers, but no scissors unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Now, the corkscrew can hold an eyeglass screwdriver like I have here, and some spiral tinder, and a mini ferro rod from Tortoise Gear, which can replace the toothpick. And although I don't see fire starting capability as an essential requirement for this kit, it is a nice to have, especially considering the weight penalty is only 2 grams. And finally, I've also added a pin to the usual hidden space behind the corkscrew. Looking at the overall weight then, this tool comes in at just 37 grams, which is actually 7 grams less than the 3 items in the original kit, making this a great option. And as a side note, when I met up with Victorinox in Switzerland last year, it became clear that they are working on some new knifeless tools which we expect to see sometime this year, and we hope to be first with any news on new Victorinox releases, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay informed, and a like on this video would be very welcome too. Carried over from the original kit is this mini compass from Suunto, which will help you get your bearings if your phone stops working or is lost or stolen. And just knowing you are heading in the right direction can make all the difference. And at just 5 grams in weight, this is definitely worth including. Now, Suunto are a quality compass maker, and this one is oil filled with a sapphire bearing and works really well, and it costs £20 or dollars. Now, I've kept a strong magnet in here for magnet fishing ferrous items like keys that get dropped into unreachable places. Now, I haven't used this in anger yet, but I just couldn't bring myself to exclude it, so instead I found one which is much smaller in size than the one in the original kit, but is still up to the job, and this one weighs 5 grams less at just 2 grams. And to stop this getting lost, I'm going to attach it to the Victorinox keyring loop. Next, I have a familiar item as my charging cable solution, also carried over from the original kit, which is this InChargeX 6-in-1. And this has USB A and C at one end and C, Lightning and micro USB at the other, making it ideal for pretty much any charging requirement. And it weighs in at 25 grams. Now, there is an updated version of this called the XS, which can handle more power, but it's not really needed for this application, and it weighs 5 grams more. As for the price, expect to pay around £25 to £30 or dollars. The next item looks the same as the one in the original kit, but it's slightly different, and it's the titanium folding spork. And this is for when you forget to grab your utensils at the takeaway or forget you need a spoon to eat that yogurt you just bought. The one in the original kit is this one from Boundless Voyage, but I've swapped it for this one from Navaris because, as you can see, it's a bit smaller, and that makes it a much better fit for the pouch. It costs £8 or dollars, and being slightly longer, which is better in use, it does actually add a couple of extra unwelcome grams, coming in at 20 grams. Now, I did consider several alternatives, the best of which was the telescopic utensils from Humangear, which cost £10 or dollars for the pair. And these are great quality and very strong and made from a BPA nylon. And at 15 grams a piece, they are lighter than the titanium choice. However, there is no spork option, and although the fork and spoon together are a really good solution, they do take up more space and weight when combined. So I've stuck with the original titanium spork for this kit. And I've removed the 1 gram of superglue from this kit because, believe it or not, it was picked up by security as liquid on a recent flight. And I don't want to have to remember to remove it each time I fly, although I do know liquid rules are in the process of changing at airports. And removing it, in fact, saves 2 grams in weight. The tape here is from the original kit, and we have Gorilla Tape wrapped around a blank credit card which has been cut in half. Now, the tape is good for patching rips and tears and holding things in place or things together. And then on top of that, we have 2 lengths of self-amalgamating tape, one on each side. And this stretches and adheres to itself and can be wrapped around something like a cable to insulate it or protect it from moisture, or it can be wrapped around a leaking pipe as a temporary fix. It's pretty useful stuff. And this tape combination comes in at 17 grams, and both tapes come off larger rolls, meaning the cost for the tape in this kit will be less than £1 or $1. Next I have some cord, and this is for use with the fishing magnet, or it could easily be a make do washing line or shoelace, or used for other general fastening tasks. And in the original kit I use this micro cord with 100-pound breaking strain. Now this is not what you call heavy at 4 grams, but like everything here I wanted to look at options, and for this kit I've changed this to this 10 strand Dyneema thread, which is a lot thinner than the micro cord and actually stronger, offering 130 pounds breaking strain. Now it comes on a 30-meter reel, and I've grabbed 10 feet of this to go into the kit, and once wrapped around the fingers it easily slides into this bit of heat shrink tubing. Now the weight saving is 3 grams, as this now only weighs 1 gram, but it is a lot less bulky and much neater too. And the reel comes in at around £3, so the cost here for the cord in the kit is going to be around £1 or $1. This tin contains the medication that you might need to get you out of trouble during the day, and I've carried this over from my pocket EDC kit. And in here I have meds for pain, allergy relief, indigestion and diarrhea. Now take care if you're removing meds from their packaging, and I've written details of the contents in here in the lid with a fine Sharpie. Now the weight of this is 13 grams, which because of the tin and a few extra meds is 10 grams more than what I had in the original kit. Not ideal, but worth it I think for what is an essential element of the kit. And as for the tin itself, that costs around £2 or $1. These zip ties are carried over from the original kit, super useful for things like fastening zippers on luggage to deter an opportunist thief or detect tampering, and of course great for general fastening and temporary fixes. And to keep things neat and tidy, these are also stored in a length of heat shrink tubing, and they weigh just 2 grams and cost virtually nothing. This is also carried over from the original kit, and it's a credit card size notebook from Write in the Rain. Just 10 pages for writing notes or leaving notes, and the pages are waterproof so they won't disintegrate if they get wet. And in here I keep some important phone numbers in case I lose my phone, and also some emergency cash, and also a prepaid debit card. Now there are lots of this type of card around. You simply top them up, usually via an app, and then they're good to go and ideal for emergency use. Together these weigh 15 grams, and the notebook costs around £2 to £3 or $1. Then we have a pen to go with the notebook and to fill in forms on your travels. And for this kit I wanted something not only small and very lightweight, but also genuinely comfortable to use and a good writer. And this Zebra Z Grip or Zebra Z Grip Mini I have discovered recently ticks all those boxes. It weighs just 7 grams and costs just £1 or $1, coming in packs of 6. And this replaces the Bullet Space Pen in the original kit, which weighs 20 grams, and that saves a very worthwhile 13 grams in this kit. Then at the back here I have an emergency wipe, and this is an individually wrapped antibacterial cloth which kills 99.9999% of germs and is much more effective than hand gel. It's like soap and water for when there is no soap and water, and being a physical cloth it can also wipe away physical dirt and also wipe down surfaces, and is ideal for use when you have to handle the food you eat, especially when a portaloo is your only option and there's no soap for miles. I'm thinking festivals here. I buy these in packs of 100, costing around £8 for the pack, and they feature in most of my kits and weigh just 4 grams. Now there is one in this kit rather than 2, saving 4 grams, but you might want to carry more. And they're not available in the US, but I have found a comparable item which I will link to in the description below. Then also in here I have some tiny backup reading glasses which I only came across recently. Now if I lose my glasses I am in real trouble, as I can't even read my phone. So I need something for emergency use, and this is a great solution. Now these come in various reading strengths, and as you can see they are very small, but they do work well. Just don't expect to use them for general day-to-day use. They are way too flimsy for that. Out of the packaging, they weigh just 1 gram, but the packaging helps to protect them and makes them easier to find, giving an overall weight of 4 grams in the packaging. And these come in packs of 3, working out at £5 or dollars each. And these have replaced my previous emergency glasses of choice, which are these from Thin Optics, which are more effective, and their weight, when out of the case at least, is similar, but they are more bulky and 3 or 4 times the price. Then relocated to a pocket on the front of the pouch, I have a credit card size sleeve with just a few simple but useful items, consisting of a sewing kit and a couple of water purification tablets, an antiseptic wipe and a few plasters or band-aids for small cuts, and some steri strips which can close a deeper cut to give time to get it properly looked at. And the cost for these elements in here works out at just a couple of pounds or dollars. Now this selection has a weight of 10 grams, which is actually 10 grams less than the original kit, which is down to a reduction in some dressings and wipes. And there we have it, 100 grams removed from the overall weight, bringing it under 350 grams or 12 ounces. And that's without any major sacrifices, making this kit easier to carry and less likely to be left behind. And this is the one I will carry now on future trips. Okay, let's get everything back into the pouch. And as mentioned before, everything has its place, so you know exactly what you've got and exactly where it goes. As for the total cost of the kit, here you can see the individual cost for each item as it appears in the kit, which you can see totals to just over £200, which will be roughly the same in dollars. Well, I hope you found that useful, and don't forget to check out my EDC pocket kit if you haven't already seen it. And that's it for this one. Thank you as always for watching, and I hope you can join me for the next one.